Greetings, everyone. Welcome. It's Friday. And I'm so happy that today is Friday. I don't know why, because I'm happy any other day too. Just that today I'm very happy. And it could be just because I'm doing this video today. Who knows, right? But I am happy. So welcome. Welcome everyone. Peace and blessings. This is your first lesson in video. And I am going to talk about three things. These three things are very important. And the reason why I'm putting them out here first as a first lesson is because this is something that you will be working through for as long as you are on your spiritual path. This is something that I would prefer for you to start working through it now, so that it, as you progress through these lessons, it becomes second nature to you, and then it's something that you just continue doing without a second thought. It just happens on its own. So I want to start with the first one, of course, out of the three. Believe is one of the biggest hurdles that many of us go through. Think about all the beliefs that you have. About 90+% of them is everybody else's belief. Mom, dad, if you have older brothers, if you was born in a Christianity community, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, cousins, whoever it is, right? A lot of your beliefs is somebody else's beliefs. Sorry, guys. We're in the middle of September. I live in Florida. So because we're going into autumn, we know, for anybody that lives in Florida knows what's autumn here. So, but it just, I guess it's the pollen. Like my pool outside is full of like yellow substance, and it's the pollen. So guess what? So I'm sorry if you see me mess with my nose. But I digress. To continue, a lot of the beliefs that we have concerning spirituality, religion in general, are all beliefs of others, not yours, everybody else's. The concepts and beliefs that you have about angels, archangels, demons, leguas, orishas, hoodoo, voodoo, santeria, those that do paleo, or for those that don't know, paleo is like paleo, I think you guys call it, right? Hopefully I didn't butcher that in English. For those that are, that has heard about, witchcraft, whether you are where you work with herbs, kitchen, whether you are a chaotic witch, or whether you are a crystals witch, whatever it is, they're all beliefs. Whatever it is that you think you know, they're all beliefs of others. They're not your experience. And a lot of these beliefs has been retold by other people before them. So it is a continuous thing. It just keeps going. So sometimes it's not even their experience either. It's somebody else's experience or somebody else's story. That will do numerous things. It's whether it will hurt you or it can help you. It can sabotage you, it can hinder you and your spiritual work. Because you're working based on other people's beliefs and experiences and not your own. You are working on what somebody else told you to do because this is what they have experienced. See it as you need your own belief and experience to know what's true for you. All these beliefs that has been implemented in you throughout your years is not yours. It's somebody else's experience or what somebody else has been told, but it's not yours. So take down a notebook. You can do a notebook. I am all about. I have different notebooks. Like I have my book of shadows, and my book of shadows is actually a folder or a binder, um, and that is where I write. Then I have, like I got my spell books. I got uh, the book that I just write ideas in whenever I need to get myself together or align myself with something, so forth and so forth. So grab a piece of paper or start making your own book of shadows or your diary, however it is that you want to do it. Write down your beliefs. What are your beliefs? Take your time with this. This is not something that you're going to do in 20 minutes or you're going to do in 30 minutes. Because I promise you that if you do try to rush this process, you will eventually will come up with more beliefs that you have subconsciously. And you are going to come across a few. And you're going to ask yourself, is this belief, does it align with what you desire, with what you want? Does it align with where you want to be spiritually? The answer is no. That's going to be a sabotage. How true is this belief? If your subconscious mind says, it's something that you've been told, but you've never experienced it, that's a sabotage. That's a sabotaging belief. Sit down for just a moment and write down anything and everything that you think, that you believe. What do you believe? And this includes your worthies, your self-talks. Include that as well, because that's also part of your belief system. And I want you to look at all those beliefs. And if you notice that all those beliefs, none of them are yours, then I want you to think like you're going to just clean slate. Your job that I want you to start working with is that I am one with Source. And I want you to see a light coming from the ground, from deep within, going to your feet, working through you, coming out. Some people say, well, why not from the top to the bottom or work your way through? Well, because practically speaking, for those that have read about chakras, are interested in chakras, or have been working with their chakras, you start from the base chakra and then you work your way up. You have chakras on your feet, you got chakras on your hands as well. So I work it from the bottom up. So when I say that I'm one with Source, and if you're not comfortable with saying I am one with Source, because the truth is you don't know what is what or where you stand spiritually, I am one with the universal energy. I am one with energy. I am one with the cosmos. I am one with the planets. I am one with the stars. I am one with everything. Whatever it is that you want to say, I am one with the universe. I am one with the source. So, that belief, since none of that is yours, you have to start from somewhere, right? Okay? I am one with the source. And then I just want you to, every single time you have a chance, I am one with the source. And just let that energy just run. And you feel yourself being filled with that light. And I have this thing where even when I say it, my hands get tingly and my skin becomes like little crawlies. It's a little weird. But even when I say it, I can still feel that sensation and it makes me feel happy. Something about it, I'm just happy about it. So this is something that I've been doing now for a few years, for good, for a long time, for about more than 10 years now. So when I say it and I constantly say it, I can feel it on my spine. My skin gets warm. And it's like, it's, you know how, have you ever heard what, you can't stay still, you got ants in your pants? That's how it feels like to me. It's just like, oh, okay. It's something about it. The simple fact that that energy is always there. But that's my experience. And what's going to end up happening when you do that is that things will start to shift, right? Because now remember, you're deciding that the beliefs that you wrote down, the ones that are self-sabotaging, the ones that are not yours, the ones that you know for a fact that is going to hinder you, it's not yours. So now you got to find your own belief, your own truth, your facts. So whenever you see something going on around you, if it's not you, the only thing that you can control is you. So if it's not you, there's nothing you can do about it. I'm pretty sure there's certain things that you can. Just let it be. Your job is to let it be. Let it be. Let things come and go. You're one with the source. Right now, what you're doing is that you got to align yourself with your source and energy. Things, it's literally like the tower's card in tarot. You will see that some friends just drop off the face of the earth. You may see that some friends will tell you, I don't know, but you seem different, you feel different, you look different. You may look at yourself in a mirror and you may be like, oh, who is this person? Some family members, especially those that are toxic, that is also will change. Your job, your career, things will start to change and align in a way, because now you have decided that you are no longer associating yourself with other people's beliefs. Now you're looking for your truth. You're looking for your belief. You are looking for you. You're searching for your true self. You are searching for your being. You are searching for your purpose. If you want to do that, you cannot continue to believe other people's belief. You have to now look for yours. And in order to do that, you have to break down those beliefs. And those beliefs are not just your self-belief. That includes the beliefs in your surroundings and your beliefs and what your religion taught you. That includes what you think angels and archangels are, demons, just anything. Because all of that is not your story, it's somebody else's story. And you will eventually find out what that truth is. So, beliefs, drop them, especially if they're not yours. They're not your experience, they're not your truth. Therefore, they're not yours. And this is something that may take a good amount of people some time to change, because it is so many years of programming of others and beliefs of others. So take your time with it. You know, every single day, multiple times a day, I am one with Source. And let that energy run through you. Just still your mind for that moment. And then go on about your day. Focus about how you feel and what you're thinking when that's happening. Write it down in a journal. Make sure you write about your changes and your experiences when you do this. All you are doing at that moment is just attuning yourself with energy, with your true purpose and energy. Now, what's the second part to this that is so important, that it's like piggybacks of belief. You will notice that when you have a belief, that even whether it's yours or not, we have this bad tendency of expectations. Expectations. Expectations will be your enemy in so many ways, and I have been proven wrong when it comes to expectations. When I first started doing magic, expectations. We have this expectation, and then when it happens, it doesn't happen the way you wanted it, or it doesn't happen the way you thought it would happen. And then guess what? Now you're disappointed. You're disappointed, or you're in awe because the way it happened was not how you thought it would go. It always goes into those two, and most of the times it will go more into disappointment because you expect it. You have some expectancy into it. My advice is, when it comes to expectations, drop it. Don't expect anything, nothing at all. Leave things as is. Let it be. It will amaze you how things will work out in your favor when you don't give it any expectations. And then it will find its way to the least path of resistance in your spirituality. So when it comes to expectations, there is none. So when you start doing the I am one with Source, oh, that little, it's like something just like if it was to touch my spine. And I'm one with Source. You're saying that with no expectations other than just connecting with yourself, connecting with the higher source. Just pay attention to what your body tells you, how you feel. That's all you gotta do. Just what does your mind quiet down when you do it? What does it do? For some people are, a little bit more advanced than others in a sense of they know that they have some form of gift, but they just don't know how to hone into it, and they're looking for ways to develop it further. So there are some people that will, it would work quickly for them. And then there's others that have trauma, a lot of trauma, so they gotta work through that. So speaking about traumas, the third one is shadow work. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys only knew how important it is to do shadow work, you cannot expect to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, as a person, as a being, if you do not work through your traumas, if you do not work through challenges, because you're going to go through challenges. You have to go through, you have to face your fears. You have to face your past. And this is something that, what I'm telling you now, is something that I wished I was told when I first started. Because I just went straight to books and doing whatever the books told me, or what other people told me. But I never realized how bad and chaotic their life was. And I'm over here following their lead. And it's so many things that I generally felt that I wish I knew, that I am putting out here now. Any magician, any genuine magician that has gone through this will tell you, if you do not go through the challenges and face your fears and heal your traumas, you don't learn to go through the commotions and let go. The spiritual path is going to be one hard path for you. Because where you want to be, you have to go through all of that so that the life that you want is the type of life that you want. Shadow work is important, because when you work a spiritual path, if you do not, it will put you through so many triggers. And you're gonna be like, I don't know at this point if me doing magic, if it's helping me or it's going against me. So please, one, if the belief is not yours and it's not your experience, drop it. Two, don't expect anything. Let things be, and it will flow through you. It will come to you. When you do not limit, when you don't put a limitation to something, it has the infinite ways for it to happen and manifest. So as you're working through your beliefs and letting go of those beliefs that is not yours and that it does not serve you, that it will hinder you more than what it will serve you, don't expect anything. Just let it be. When you start saying I'm one with Source, understand that the type of energy that you're letting in is a pure energy. Some people will experience a shift to where things are starting to be removed, and then certain things will start going into its place. For some, it is what I call the purge. You will start crying, you'll feel emotional, you start going through triggers. And that is where you start working through your shadow self. This is where take the time that if it happens to you, let that go. Go through that feeling and that emotion. Go through whatever it is that it's making you go through. Express it. I promise you that when you go through that emotion and you go through when you go through it completely, when you are faced with that when you are faced again with that situation, to where now your spiritual, your higher self now is testing you to see if it's still a trigger. If it's still a trigger, is there still something there that we still need to continue to work with? When you think that you may have worked through it, there's going to be something that may have been a trigger to you in the past that is no longer a trigger now. Because now you can say, I'm healed from it. I made peace with it. And now you're able to move forward. These are 3 things that I urge for anyone that wants to do this to start working with now. It is very crucial, and if you start doing it now, you will thank me later. Because then you'll realize that when you start working on these 3 main components in your life, your path will become easier. And it will be less resistant. It will be so much better. In so many ways. Now, how did I came about this, or how did I found out? So now that I basically let you guys know, so don't forget, believes, work on your beliefs, write them down. I want to say it one more time. Your job. Remember, I can give you all the tools in the world, but just remember, you are responsible in doing it. You are responsible for working it, for working through it. So just watching this video and you're not doing it, it's not going to help you. You have to do it. So please keep that in mind. So I will tell you now something that happened to me. So the way I came across and how I figured this out, when I first decided that I was gonna, I'm no longer live with my mom, I'm gonna go ahead and start practicing witchcraft. I started, it was at that time where I was already reading witchy books, and there were certain things that I was kind of doing behind my parents' back while living in their roof, but I wasn't able to practice it openly. So there was a lot of things where I was, I was happy to do that I was happy about. And I was like, I'm going to go ahead now. I can go ahead and put up an altar. And, at the time I was working a lot with elementals. So I can go ahead and put up an altar. And, there was a few entities and spirits that I was trying to work with. And I went ham. I wasn't working through anything within myself. I still had these certain beliefs that they were more of a hindrance to me that they were, everything else. And I was just, at this point, I'm just following whatever it is that the books were telling me, okay? Just whatever the books were telling me, whatever people were telling me, I was just going through, just I'm going from entity to entity to entity. You know, some spells kind of worked for me, but then it kind of worked for a moment, and then it just like kind of went away. So I'm back in square one, right? So I do a spell, it works for a moment, and then I'm back in square one. And I was like, well, what am I doing? Why is it that I feel that I am taking two steps forward, and then I end up back in the same spot? So here I am running through spirits and entities. And I'm just like, okay, well, this entity may not be, this entity is probably ignoring me. So you know what? Let me try this entity. Well, damn, okay, you worked for all, 5 minutes, and then I'll go on to the next one. But I fucked around. There was this one particular uh, spirit. This one particular spirit put my life upside down. And when I say it put my life upside down, I lost friends, friends that I thought that were friends from as far as middle school. Basically started to betray me. Like I started to see a whole different aspect of my surroundings. And it put me in a spiral of anger, disillusion. I was so disappointed at the people around me, because then I realized that nobody really had my back. Everyone had my back when I was good. When I was good, everybody was good. But now I am coming into a situation where I it became so chaotic that I am constantly fighting, I am upset, I am angry, I am irritated. What? You can't look at me wrong without me punching you. Oh, you got a problem with me? And I became this chaotic person in every sense of the word. I basically, uh, my relationship with my mother just became so toxic. I started to see her toxicity and how that was affecting me as a person, how it was affecting me, how I viewed everybody else. I even started, having a very negative, toxic relationship with my brothers and sister. And it just, now, here I am. And now I am mad at everything that is going wrong with my life. Got to a point where I ended up being thrown out in the streets because I was just an energy not to be reckoned with, and it was like, okay, you you gotta go. There was like, you gotta go, and you need to figure you out. Now I'm mad, and I decided, you know what? All these people that said magic does this and magic does that, and spirituality this and spirituality that, and I haven't experienced not even half the that I've been told, that I told that I should have experienced, and that I by now should be happening. So now you see, where's the problem? Believe others, expectations, unrealistic expectations, because it was not my experience, it was not my story. So practically, It wasn't even a truth or a fact. It wasn't my experience, and it wasn't my belief. And that was my expectations of this. I stopped practicing. Okay? I stopped practicing for a while. I was still just mad at the world. I was really upset. And one day, I get this weird dream. And I remember that in this dream, everything around me was white. And it just so happens that I am seeing a particular gentleman. And it's, to explain it, it's like, it's chairs, right? So there is like a wall. So the wall is behind him. Then, sitting. I'm so sorry, guys. Now, out of nowhere, now people want to call me, like, leave me alone. So there is like a wall. Then he's sitting down, just like I'm sitting down. Now, behind him, even though there was a wall, it was like one of those walls that are kind of short, so you can look over. And the thing about this particular dream is that it's it's like you're looking down into like a city. It's like, see it as like if you are in your state and you're looking at another state. Does that make sense? And that's how it was. It's like I was somewhere, but I was able to see another part of another world. And as I sat down and I looked at him and I was seeing, and I was like, in my subconsciously, in my dream, I was like, I wonder what place is that. It's it's something that piqued my curiosity in the dream, because I knew the thing is, I knew I was dreaming, so I was able to think while I'm in this dream, because I knew I was dreaming. And it was like I was very well aware that I was in a dream state. So I was able to still think just like on my awakened state. And the moment I see this particular entity, I knew who he was. And I sat down and we had this conversation where if I knew why he was there. And in my mind, I thought, which I verbally spoke in the dream, is that, well, I stopped working with you because everything that I did just apparently wasn't working. And everything that I was doing wasn't working. Everything was backfiring and everything was just chaotic. And he explained to me, and he told me, how do you expect to be where you want to be when you're not working through your issues? How do you want to be rich with a broke mind? I want you guys to think about it that way. And I stood there. I remember I stood there in a dream, like, huh? I don't remember reading this in notebook. What are you talking about? How do you expect to live your life better? You haven't been doing no form of work. And for me, it's like, yes, I have. And I have been doing work. The amount of spells I've done, and you think that that's not work? So we had this conversation. And then he tells me, we hear you, but you're not ready. And then my alarm rings. Boom. Now I'm back into my real world. Now I'm sitting up and I'm like, what the hell is that? At that time, I was living in somebody else's home, and I was just trying to find my place, I guess, in the world, because I was already on my 20s by then. Mind you, I started to genuinely practice at the age of 19. So I was about 2021, because that was around the time that I found out I was pregnant. So, which that was just another chaotic situation on top of everything else that was going on with me, right? So now here I am in a dream, just I'm thinking, what is he talking about? What work am I supposed to be doing? Because I have been. I have been doing work. Shoot. I've been, if you ask me, I was doing spells almost every single day. So I don't know what this entity is, I don't know what the spirit is talking about. And during that time, I just, put it down on my, I put it down on my little dream book. Because, at that time I had a dream book. I still do. Just when the beginning, I wrote down my dream. And it still kind of worked in the background, because I was not understanding a lot of the conversation that he and I had. And I was just baffled and confused. And during that time, I wasn't reading magic books. Funny indeed, I was reading manifestation books, like Carter. Excuse me, I already said Carter Neville, Carl Jung, and a few others. But me saying those names, I'm pretty sure you guys be like, oh, I know what you're talking about. I do not know why I was reading manifestation books. It was just something that, it was just weird. And I'm reading these manifestation books, and then it hits me. It hits me like tons of bricks. And I'm like, oh, no shit. Seriously. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put this into a theory. I'm going to put this into a test. I turned around and I was like, there is certain parts on manifestation books, and I'm not sure if is it Neville, Goddard Neville? I'm not sure. It may be, not sure. But there is a part in a manifestation book that talks about, it would tell you that you are anything, everything, and nothing. You just are. I am. I am just, I am. And then you continue to do that over and over and over and over again until you yourself lose the self-concept of what you are. I am a man, I am a woman, I am this, I am that. It's just you are, right? You just is. And then I told myself, I am going to lose all of my beliefs. I'm just going to not associate all those beliefs with me. And then when I started practicing the I am one with the source, or I am God, or I am one with energy. And I started practicing I am one with source. The source is within me. God is within me. Everything that I need is here. It's here. Why am I looking outside of it? So I started to internalize that energy. Instead of trying to look it outside of me, I started to internalize it. That's when I started to see the shift. Then it dawns on me as I progress throughout uh, the I am one with source expectations. Once I started, dropping the beliefs that did not serve me, that was not mine, a lot of expectations were dropped too. And then I started to think and I started to analyze of all the spells I have done. And I started realizing the limitations I was putting and the expectations I was putting in these spells. Well, of course I'm going to be disappointed half the time when I'm completely limiting my spell work, my magic, my power. Just because your physical has a limit, your spirituality doesn't. Just because there's certain things that you think and you feel that you cannot achieve physically, it doesn't mean that it's not possible. You see, that's your limited belief. Because we are told from kids, you cannot fly. You can't be Superman, you can't be Superwoman, you can't be Catwoman. You can't be none of these characters because they're all fake characters. Then I started to drop expectations. So I still, you know, I still made my mistakes. And then in the process of doing the I am, and I started to not expect anything. I was just, I am, and I started to let things be, to not be so angry and so upset and so confrontational because it took a while for me to get there. I started to realize that there was a lot of emotional baggage that I had going on with me that I was still going through. And whenever I was faced with the challenges and the issues with certain friends that I consider my best friends since middle school and how I felt about them, I had to face that. And then once I was able to face that and let it go, then if I was to see this person before going through all this trauma, oh, it used to piss me off. It was a trigger. But then I started learning and I started to realize, wait, I think I'm supposed to work through my traumas. And when I started to, be in situations where I was just triggered, I'm like, why is this triggering me so? Why am I allowing these outside circumstances trigger me like this? Why? And then I started to realize, you know what? Well, maybe instead of, let me just sit down and just, whatever it is, just let that flow through me. And if I have to express it, then I express it. If there's something that needs to be talked about, then fine. You don't want nothing to you don't want to say anything to me, just let me say what I gotta say. So that I can be okay, so that I can move on. And then when I started realizing that working through my challenges, my problems, my anger, I started realizing that my life became easier and a lot stress free. I was able to see this person down the street and be like, oh, look, so and so. Shit. Got even to a point where I was able to wave. We're not friends, we're not cool, but I can be cordial. Hey, what's up? And then, boom, boom, going about my way. I started doing that with everything around me. Of course, your most challenging, if you have some serious trauma, it's going to be that, your traumas that you've been carrying since probably childhood. Those will be your challenges. But just remember that those is something that you don't have to work overnight. You can slowly but surely work your way through. So I am going to leave this video here. I do want to thank you for taking your time and actually listening to this video, and I hope that you know you process it, you follow it through. I promise you that if you do this, it is going to be a big changer in yourself yourself and your surroundings. It did a lot for me. It it generally opened up doors in ways I was not expecting. When I finally decided, there's so many things that you have to learn to process and let go. Just let go. What is not yours does not belong to you. So, peace and blessings. Until next video. Peace.